Hello.
G'day Glenn, it's Neil Waters here from the Thylacine Awareness Group of Australia.
G'day, buddy. How are you?
Very good, thanks, very good.
You woke me up.
I've woken you up, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's you've saved me. I was awake at 8:30. I thought I'm going to lay in bed for a little bit longer. So I
Okay,
felt up to sleep.
so is Jude your missus?
Yeah. On that, I think she was the name. That's her maiden name.
Oh,
It's
okay,
from,
yep.
it's just a weird thing, but anyway. Um, you obviously want to know about what I've seen or what I didn't see. I don't know, and I still don't know what it is. I've been thinking about it.
Yep.
Um, it was the morning that Lady Di, Princess Diana died. I was in Orange. I was working in the Cadia gold mine construction, and we had to go in early for a concrete pour. And it would have been, I don't know, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, then 10 after 4. And we followed, the road used to follow Katie Engelong Creek. So we'd go around the ridges and then duck back in the gully. And it just sort of meandered along. And I come around the outside of the bend and my lights had seen an animal. And as I come back into the curve again, there was an animal and it was sitting on its haunches and it hopped up maybe a 6 or 8 foot embankment. And as I went past, and I just thought, oh, that's an odd coloured wallaby because there's a lot of swamp wallabies there. And the more I thought about it through the day, in the peripheral part of the light, I was walking across the road. It wasn't hopping at all.
But then it hopped up the embankment.
Yeah, when I come into the full light, as I come around the bend again to it, it was sitting on its haunches, and it hopped up the embankment. And because I was so intent on listening to what was happening in England with the news and that, I wasn't really paying attention. But we seen there's a lot of swamp wallabies that was across that part of the road.
Are they the typical charcoal grey sort of standard swamp wallaby colour?
Yeah, they're black, but this one wasn't. This one was like I don't know, a brownie tan colour, I guess.
Like a fawn.
Yeah, I guess. Look, it was all fleeting.
Sure.
And it's always sort of stuck in my head. When we was having crib that day, and I was saying to the guys, they just all took the piss out of me, so I was going to say anything about it. And I don't know what I've seen, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know what I've seen. I wasn't paying attention, because I was really intent on what was happening on the news. And I don't know what I've seen, but my initial thought was strange coloured wallabies. They're dark, blacky sort of brown coloured, little dark swamp wallabies. That's in that area. And I know it wasn't a dog, I know it wasn't a fox, and I know it wasn't a tiger claw. And I'm pretty positive it wasn't a wallaby. I just don't know what it was. And what blew me away was, well, what made me think it was a wallaby, because it hopped. It was half sort of sitting like a wallaby, and it just hopped up this embankment. As I come around the corner, the S sort of bend back into it again.
Yep.
And I just kept on driving, but I'd slowed down because we'd hit a couple of them. And I'd slowed down. I didn't want to hit one. And yeah, look, I don't know what it was. And I've thought about it since you contacted me the other day, and I still don't know what it was, but I know what it was, and that's about all I can tell you.
Yeah. So you saw it walking across the road, it stopped, it went up on its haunches, and it leapt up an embankment.
Look, I'll explain the road. The road followed Katie Engelong Creek, and the creek was to my right-hand side, going sort of south.
Yep.
And I don't know, it's like a slow series of bends over the ridge line, and then back into the valley, and then over ridge line. You know, sort of how it follows the contour of the land.
Sure. So does that mean that as you're driving, you can see the next bend in front of you, sort of thing, before you get to it?
Yeah.
Yep.
I seen an animal there, and sort of when I slowed down, and by the time I come into the bend, it was sitting on its haunches, and then it jumped up, or hopped up, and I don't know, it was 6-8 foot up the embankment. And I didn't think no more about it. But later I was thinking about it. When I first seen the animal in the peripheral of the lights, it was on all fours. It was walking. It wasn't like how a wallaby sort of with his head down and he sort of hops a little bit and he puts his
when he's going slow on all fours and he's just cruising around eating. Yeah.
No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. He was actually walking, and that's what, because when I started thinking about it, that's what I'd seen. It was on all fours, and when he actually came into the full light beam, it was sitting on its haunch, and it hopped up the embankment, and I passed it off as just as an odd-coloured wallaby.
Yeah.
And I said, when I was at work and I thought about it, what I actually seen, and I was told the guys at Crib Break, and they just took this out of me, and it was just filed away. But it's always been there in the back of my head. What did I see? Because I don't know what I've seen.
Yeah.
And I can't say. I can't say it was a wallaby. Look, I know it wasn't a wallaby. I can't say what it was because I don't know what it was, and that's the truth.
But it appeared to be more marsupial than anything else.
Look, my reaction was I thought it was a wallaby, and I just thought it was an odd-coloured one.
Yeah. Because you're used to the dark, black, grey, bloody swampies.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was a swamp wallaby.
Yeah.
And I slowed down for it because they make a hell of a mess when you hit them.
Yep.
There's wombats in the area, and it wasn't a wombat. I used to shoot foxes when fox were something. There wasn't a fox. None of them hopped. And it hopped. That's the easiest description. It hopped.
Yep.
Up the embankment. It didn't jump up the embankment. It hopped up the embankment, which made me just not even take a second look. But it was only later, like I said, when I was thinking about it, that the first contact when I knew that there was an animal on the road, which made me slow down a bit, was that it was walking.
Yep.
But it failed me at that point in time.
Yeah, so something that walks and jumps like a kangaroo is something unusual, I suppose.
Not to me, it was.
Yeah, it is to me as well.
Yeah. It was just, as I said, when it came into the full light of the beam, it was sitting like a...
Was it a very... Can you recall if it was a very solid-looking animal, how big it was, roughly, and compared to a particular breed of dog, say?
God, you asked me to think back a long time.
Yeah, 27 years.
It was in the 90s. Look,
Yeah, 97 she died.
Yeah, look, that's the only reason that I knew when it was because I was listening to it on the news that morning going into work. She'd just been died in or killed, whatever it is, wasn't in that car accident. I was just so intent on listening to it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't really paying attention.
To just another animal crossing the road until it did something it shouldn't have done, which was jump up like a kangaroo.
Well, what made me really think about it was that it was odd coloured. It was, to me, it was, that's an odd coloured wallaby, but and again, like I said, when I thought about it, I actually seen it was walking across the road and then hopped up the embankment.
Yep.
I don't know, dog size. Gee. It was bigger than a cattle dog. I don't know. I'm just trying to think where it was. Maybe a greyhound size, maybe.
Yeah, well, that's a reasonable sized animal. I suppose.
I guess probably half. I'm looking at my leg, and it's probably between my knee and my hip. Not quite that high, but
Yep.
yeah.
How tall are you?
5'11", I think.
Yep. Okay, well, that's reasonably tall then. I'm 5'10" and shrinking.
Well, I'm the same. When I lose height, I gain weight.
Yeah, keeps you grounded, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know. Very grounded.
All good. Now, I record all these conversations, mate, for our YouTube channel, but you don't have to have it on there if you don't want it. But I also record them just so I don't lose the information as well, yeah?
Yeah, look, I don't know that it's of any use to anybody.
Oh, look, people love hearing about these stories, I'll tell you.
Oh, yeah, but it's just a story, and it's like, I don't know whether I did see something, I don't know what I've seen.
Well,
I'll tell you something when I've been thinking about it. In 1983, I was working for a little while down near Oberon, and it was when my son was born. And there was a thing in the paper, there was an old guy, it was on the front page of the paper, that he was attacked by an animal that was in his chicken pen. He lived up in the valley system right out the back of there, and in my head, they said it was a Tasmanian devil that attacked him. He shot it.
A devil, not a tiger?
No, yeah, they said a devil, not a tiger. But it made the front page of the paper. I'm positive that's what it was. It was a Tasmanian devil.
There's 5 Tasmanian devils in the Melbourne Museum that were all found dead on the side of the road somewhere in Victoria.
Get away.
But they still won't admit that they're mainland. They've all escaped from somewhere. But they turned up in the 1800s, you know. And there was a population reported near Mainland in South Australia in the 1800s as well, in the 1860s. They used to call them Tasmanian bears.
Yeah, well, look, I kept that paper for a long time, and I don't know. You move around and a fair bit. I work in the mining industry, and you move around a fair bit, and you lose stuff. But it was the front page of the Oberon advertising, Oberon something or other. There was a picture of this old guy, and his legs were terribly lacerated and bruised, and he had a 303, and there was something in his chook pen, and he went down there and it attacked him, and that's what he was saying. I'm sure that's what he said it was.
Yep.
Devil.
Doesn't surprise me. When you go through the National Newspaper Archive online, Trove, there are thousands of stories about weird animals on mainland Australia.
Well, what's that, Trove?
Trove is the National Newspaper Archive online.
Yep.
And in it, it's like a Google search engine. You can put in keywords and it'll bring up newspaper articles that have been digitised and scanned into the system that have those words. So if you put unusual animal monster in, you'll get about 10,000 newspaper articles in Australia that have those words in it, for example. There's some key words that you can put, and you just sit there scrolling through them and read them, and there's literally hundreds of pages of all these old articles about unusual things that were reported, shot, found, all sorts, scun. You know, there's definitely a deceit within the zoology world in Australia, without a doubt. There's an absolute resistance to admit that certain things are there.
Well, why would that be?
Invested interest is the only thing I can think of. I don't know. They just want to pretend there's no major predators in this country, but there really is. There really, really is. And there's thousands and thousands of people who've reported these things. Thousands. There's way more thylacine sightings on the mainland than there is in Tasmania, for starters.
Well, I guess it's a bigger place.
Yeah, well, that's it. More places to hide. But anyway, that's a rabbit hole that I've been down too many times already, let me tell you.
Well, it makes you ponder things, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Well, it's been good talking to you, mate. It's a good sighting because you've described two different types of locomotion that don't fit anything but, really, an unusual predator that's four-legged. It's reasonably large. You're saying it might be roughly as big as a greyhound in height.
Greyhound's quite variable. I'm just...
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of people use greyhounds as a reference when I ask them. They say, "Oh, it's sort of like a greyhound because it was skinny in the stomach but had a deep chest." That's a very common thing that people say to me as well, you know. And it was quite tall. It was as big as a German Shepherd. You know, that's another thing that people say. But the experts will tell you that they only got very small. They weren't very big, you know. But it's rubbish.
Yeah, look, there was no stripes on it that I could see.
You were saying about 1983. What was it again?
1983. That was down in Oberon. I was cutting wood down there for winter.
Yeah.
And I was camped down there for, 2 months. Went down and cut a heap of wood. And it was in the front page of the Oberon paper. And my boy was born in the end of May, so it was around May in '83.
Oh, and that was the guy that shot the devil that attacked him.
Yeah.
Did they have a photo of the devil?
They had a photo of him and his legs.
Okay. So maybe the devil got away.
No, I think he said, God, I think he said that he shot it. He had a 303.
Maybe well, if you shot anything with a 303 at very close range, there's not going to be much left of it. It'll blow a hole in it 4 inches round.
I'm positive that they said he said in it that he shot it.
Yep. Well, I wonder what happened to the specimen.
I don't know that anything would have happened to it. I never said the Parks and Wildlife or anything was involved. It was just a story.
Yeah. Oh, it's an interesting one anyway.
Well, it was enough to make the front page of the paper.
Yep. So you're okay with me using this interview? I can edit out your name at the beginning there if you want.
Oh, yeah, if you want.
Yep.
I just can't see that there's any use to anybody. I thought maybe talking to you might have clarified my head.
Well, I think you've seen a marsupial, and I think it was four-legged because you described it walking like a normal quadruped, and then it was up on its haunches and hopped and leapt up, you know. It's not the first time. I've had 3 or 4 other people report a thylacine doing that on the road in front of them as well. And they were adamant, they're adamant that it was a thylacine, nothing else.
Well, normally I pay a lot of attention, except like I was listening to the ABC News about what was happening with that lady Di, and
Yeah.
you know, I was watching what I was doing, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
And as I said, it just I put it off as a odd-coloured wallaby, but in afterthought it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It just it moved differently.
Yeah.
And that's all I can say. And I don't know what I seen. So I seen something.
Yeah, no, that's fine, mate. That's still a good report. I appreciate you coming forward with it. It's great.
Well, at least you didn't take the piss out of me like the guys at work did.
No, mate, no. I take these reports seriously because I've only had maybe 2 or 3 people that I think were telling me porky pies. Just about everybody is very convincing in their demeanour and no reason to make these stories up.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have discussed it, only you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
I would just, you think I'm up in my news feed. I thought, I'll go and have a look at this site and see what it's about.
Yeah, cool.
That's how we found each other.
Yeah, I think we're trending a little bit high at the moment. We're getting about 30 member requests every couple of days. It's driving me nuts. So many people joining the group at the moment.
Like an unusual thing, I guess.
Yeah, it is, because a lot more information comes in, but it's all. I've got to screen them all because we get that many trolls trying to get into the group with fake accounts. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It really is. But anyway, that's all part and parcel of what I do. There's always someone out there that wants to knock you off your perch in Australia.
Poor poppy syndrome.
That's it, mate. That's it. All right. Well, look, you have a good day, and I'll edit this down a little bit, and I'll put it out in the next couple of days, and people can have a listen.
Righto.
All right. Good on you, mate. Cheers.
Bye.
Ta-da.